Sorry if you hear a meow every once in a while.
That's fine.
The cat's in my lap.
Aw, that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, should we get started?
Yeah.
Yeah?
All right. So our first question is, when we interviewed you 2 years ago, you told us that you already had a script done for a third Harry Potter musical, and you told us that you were going to add in one of your favorite characters, but it was a surprise and you wouldn't tell us who the character was. So we wanted to know which new character was the surprise one that you were really excited about, and how that script has changed, like, since you told us about it 2 years ago.
It's Gilderoy, right?
It was Gilderoy Lockhart was her.
Yeah, I think that how the script changed, we must have been lying at the time that when we said it
wasn't
done,
all the way done.
We were exaggerating. We had an idea for it, but it wasn't done. So
we had a lot of Act 1 done.
Not 2 years ago.
Oh well, I don't know. But we had an idea for the script, and it changed since then because just as you're writing something, it irons itself out and sort of becomes something that is basically what you intended, but to work out all the little details, it becomes something new. We sort of changed Hermione throughout the writing process because we knew that it was going to be a different actress, Meredith, who I think did a great job.
Yeah.
But we basically, in older drafts, like, Hermione was more, sick of the other characters. She was, sick of being Harry's, servant, basically, doing all of Harry's work. She was, she was excited to leave him. And I remember a big change was that the entire world was sick of Harry Potter. Yeah, originally we wanted...
But then we said, no, it should be Gilderoy who makes the school sick of him.
Yeah.
Then what other big change? For a while, we wanted Gilderoy to be the main bad guy.
Yeah.
We wanted to cut out Voldemort.
Because originally Voldemort was the bad guy. Tom Riddle, the diary, as it appears in the show. But then, for a while... the show was just seeming incredibly long, and when we did the Harry Potter sequel, we didn't include Voldemort. We said it's just going to be Umbridge as the bad guy. And so, for a while, we were thinking, is it a rehash of the first one to have Voldemort back? So we thought maybe we'll cut Voldemort out and just have Gilderoy be the main villain, and then Joe would have played Gilderoy. But it just didn't work because Gilderoy's plotline was he was trying to get money. And
it was just stupid.
And
he didn't work as a main bad guy.
He didn't work. There was no emotions behind it, so eventually we went back to Voldemort as the main villain. And then you guys have seen the show, read it?
Yeah.
Okay. We killed off Scarfy in the show, and we only decided to do that because we were writing the show. We were in the last week of writing, and we were
really burnt out,
having a really hard time. It was a month before LeakyCon, and we didn't know what to do, and the last Batman movie came out, The Dark Knight Rises, and we were let's just go see it. We hadn't left the house in a month because we were writing the show, and then we were like, let's just go see it to just get it out of the way, just get it out of our systems, just go and see it so we don't have to be wondering, oh, I wonder what Bane does in the movie. So then we went to go see it, and on the car ride there, we were like, I wonder how they're going to end their Batman trilogy. And then we were thinking about killing off characters, and we were like, you know what would be really sad? If we killed Scarfy. And we just started talking about it, and we started crying, just thinking about Scarfy dying, because we were like, that's like one of the characters that we sort of added into the universe. And we were like, it would be fitting to kill off the character that we added in, so that it would be, you know, killing off our connection with it.
Sorry.
That's okay.
And I think it's funny.
And it's funny. We were like, we gotta kill off a side character, but all of the real side characters that died are already dead. So
Yeah.
let's kill.
Let's kill Scarf.
So we were crying, and then we went in and saw the third Batman movie, and this may have influenced our viewing of that movie, but we were crying through the whole movie. We loved it.
It was good.
It was good, yeah.
Yeah. That was so good. Okay.
So, yeah.
How different was the preparation for this performance, like, compared to the other shows that you guys did?
Very, 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 very different. With the other shows, we have a big, huge amount of rehearsal time. Well, not that huge. For the first Harry Potter musical, we had 3 weeks of rehearsal. For the second,
But it was only like 4 hours a day, 5 days a week.
for the second play, we had 12 days of rehearsal. That was 24 hours every single day.
Or like 12
Straight.
hours every day.
Yeah, but we could hold people longer
Yeah.
than 12 hours if we needed to. Basically, everyone was just there during the summer to do the sequel. For the third play, we had 2 days for about maybe 8 hours a day.
Maybe 8 hours. Yeah, for 2 days, because we flew everyone in on like the first night of LeakyCon. Everyone got there. That's like the deal that we'd worked out, I guess. And throughout LeakyCon, we thought that we were going to have most of the time to rehearse, but then they kept on springing like things on us, events that we had to go to, and like adding signings for all the actors to do. And so our rehearsal time kept getting cut down and down more and more, and we only had Darren for an hour before the show.
Oh, God.
Wow.
So Darren...
So, the amount of rehearsal time was almost, non-existent. It's like, we never saw the whole show on its feet before the actual performance. So it was basically...
It's like we never saw Darren actually reading the lines. The only thing we had time to do with Darren is walk him through and tell him where to stand in every part. So Darren, he did a great job.
Yeah, considering.
Considering that.
I mean, it was... Looking back on it, it was a crazy, stupid thing to do. Because it was probably a little unfair to ask it of all the actors.
Yeah. And we kept on lying to people, pretty much. We kept on saying, oh, it's just going to be reading. It's just going to be reading. Don't worry, guys.
Because usually that's all we promised. It was going to be a staged reading. And usually what stage readings are is people just sitting in chairs, out of costume, at a table, reading the script.
Like, that's a script.
And that's what everyone was planning on. But then the closer we got to the reading,
the more and more we were like, we're never going to actually get to do this show. So we were like, this is our last shot. This is the last time we're going to have some of these people. It's the last time we're going to be able to get Darren. So we were just kept on making it bigger and bigger without telling anybody. And then everybody got there and we said, okay, here are your costumes. Please be memorized. For a while we were trying to have them not have their scripts, but then AJ sat us down and he was like, guys, we can either do a really awful play or we can do a really great staged reading. So we said, you're right, AJ. Everyone should have their scripts. And I'm glad that everyone did, because Darren, there was no way he could have been memorized.
There's no way anyone could have a 4-hour show memorized with
Darren thought
hours of rehearsal.
Darren thought he was just going to be sitting reading until the day of. He got there and we said, all right, Darren, here's your costume back. We got to draw that scar on your head. You're gonna stand here and here." And he was like, "You guys, you stinkers! I knew you were gonna do this."
So it was different, and it was very hard and difficult.
Yeah, it was really stressful. And during the actual show, we edited it so it looks less rough than the real show actually was. And during the real show, at one point, me and Matt were backstage crying because we were like, "This is not going well," and we were like, "This is a disaster."
We thought it was a disaster.
We thought it was a disaster during towards the end of Act 1. We were like, "This isn't going well." But then the Act 2 came in and the ending happened, and we were like, "Oh, that was great."
Yeah.
So.
I was really impressed with the production level of it, because I was expecting much more of a stage reading, and that it was basically a full play.
Yeah.
We did our best to make it a full play. I mean, it's like that's all we can do is what we did.
Yeah.
So we tried.
I think it was a nice way to close out the whole series. It satisfied all the audience definitely. I know I was left "Oh man, it's over," but it felt good. It was a good way to end it all up.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yeah.
That's good. That's what we wanted.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were worried, so I'm glad that it came out. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. So could you tell us a little bit about Twisted and what's coming up with that?
Twisted is going to be a new sort of parody musical coming this July. I think we're going to open the 4th of July.
Oh.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think we're going to do it there in a place called the Greenhouse Theater in Chicago. And it's going to be... It's, basically the story of Aladdin from the viewpoint of the Royal Vizier, the Jafar character. So it's basically a parody of Disney, of the Disney movies that were coming out when we were kids, like Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, all those ones. And basically those are the big ones. Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King.
So it's a parody of those musicals with also a little bit of Wicked thrown in there.
Yeah.
Just because it's taking a Disney bad guy and saying, now they're the main character.
Yeah.
What's it like from their point of view? And it basically only works, I think the idea it works with any of the movies if you wanted to, but it works best with Aladdin just because the character Aladdin, in my opinion, and I've always thought this since I was a child, is the most despicable man I've ever seen. So, and we make Aladdin so despicable in the show. But he's not that different from what he's like in the movie.
Disney is probably our biggest influence of anything. When we were making the Harry Potter show, originally we didn't set out to make a parody. We just said, how would you make a Harry Potter into a Disney movie? And then that's what we came up with. So we just love Disney so much, and as we were trying to figure out what to do next after the 3rd Harry Potter show was over, we were sitting in a Chipotle talking about it, just talking about all of the sort of jokes that we have, because usually all the shows are based off of a big joke that we might have, and then we've always had this joke about Jafar being a really great guy, but really misunderstood, and Aladdin being an awful person because he's a thief, and Jafar is just trying to govern the city well. And the movie is about how Agrabah is this poverty-stricken, awful place, but then you're supposed to root for the Sultan who's in charge of Agrabah,
making it so terrible.
So we were Jafar just wants to take over so that he can make Agrabah a better
and
place.
put the kingdom on the right track. So Jafar seems very, just like a selfless, really smart intellectual, but Aladdin's this illiterate thief that mugs people every single day, but has delusions of grandeur and wants to live in the palace and be king of the world when he can't even read. It's like, it's a crazy scenario.
Yeah.
But he's young and hot, so we have to root for him.
Yeah. We didn't like how Jafar is just the bad guy because he's ugly.
Yeah, he's just old and ugly, so he's just the worst. It's also weird that he's a sorcerer. Where'd that come from?
Yeah, really.
Yeah. So we've got so hopefully it should be a fun show, focusing on Jafar's life. I've read some of the comments on the video. Some people are concerned that it might be racist. We're gonna try and make it not racist because
What do you mean racist?
Good.
because I guess
Yeah.
Aladdin is like racist, the movie. And so
I
we,
don't know.
yeah, I'm sure some people think it is, you know, because some of those Disney movies are a little bit thoughtless in how they portray certain groups of people. So we're going to try and not make it racist. We're going to try and, do it tastefully, but this is going to be a little bit different in tone compared to our other parodies.
I mean, that's one of the aspects that you can parody. The fact that the Disney movies are a bit racist.
Yeah.
So in a parody, it kind of we can poke at that, and we do a little bit, don't we?
A little bit, but not too much.
Not too much.
We don't really address that subject. It's more about the historical politics.
Yeah.
Where other musicals are more about taking something serious and turning it into something funny and a light musical, like Harry Potter is like a thing that shouldn't be a musical, then we took it and turned it into one. Batman, he's a really dark, awesome hero, and we took him and had him singing and dancing. With this one, Disney is already sort of a light, incredibly funny thing. Like, the movie Aladdin is so funny to begin with. So really, the way to spin it on its head is to add such an element of tragedy to it. And turning Jafar into this tragic, misunderstood hero. So,
I think that you're going to watch it, and people that are into more subtle humor that's like, can find it funny that we're following Jafar and giving him this heart-wrenching story, I think that's really funny, but other people may watch it and just go, this is sad.
yeah.
But then there's enough jokes in there sprinkled in to where hopefully if you don't think that the tragedy and drama is funny, then maybe you'll think the tragedy and drama is good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think Aladdin's pretty funny in the show.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of funny stuff.
Yeah. The princess is pretty funny.
Yeah, they're all pretty funny.
They're pretty funny characters.
But that's what it is.
Alright, I'm excited for it.
That sounds so good. Now I'm excited, like more so than I was before. Okay. Do you want to tell us about the graphic novel you guys are doing? Quicksand Jack?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Quicksand Jack, that's an idea that me and Nick have had for a really, really long time.
Like almost 13 years, I think.
Oh, cool.
We've, when I was in high school, I think, we high school or middle school or something, we made up Quicksand Jack. And he's sort of been one of our original characters, because all of the Starkid work is derivative of something else. But with, we have original stories that we've just never done because they're not like the Starkid things. They're more of like a real idea that is its own self-contained thing. That's
a real story.
It's a real story. And Quicksand Jack is definitely like an adventure. It's not a comedy.
I mean, there are funny bits in it, as much as there are funny bits in, like, the real Harry Potter. How the real books Harry Potter are pretty funny, you know?
Yeah.
But they're not just about Harry's farting and, like, Voldemort slipped on a banana peel. It's like, there's funny bits in it, but it's more concerned with being a good story. That's kind of what Quicksand Jack is. You know? It's not just going to be a goofball fest. But I think it's a cool story. There's not many images in the trailer just because the first issue is the only one that's strong. So, how much do you want to give away about it?
Yeah. It's basically a story that's been developing and refining and been changing like a million times. For a while we thought that it could never work, and then recently we figured out how to do it. It's basically like a supernatural western, to where Quicksand Jack is this mysterious sort of like wandering cowboy who has strange powers for some reason.
You find out about his powers in this mystery kind of unfurls. He goes to this town called Brimstone, and there's a mystery going on there, but it's sort of a nice, sort of spooky ghost story as well as an action adventure that is also a little bit funny.
So, and hopefully it'll be a little bit romantic too, because it's basically the two main characters are Quicksand Jack and a girl from the town of Brimstone named Mud, and it's sort of about them growing to become friends and
discovering the mystery of this town
and of Quicksand Jack himself.
So
that's basically it. And then our sisters, Jen is our sister, and then her wife Tia. They're doing the art for it.
Yeah, basically they're the ones who are making it possible, because we would never have the time or patience to sit down and draw a comic. And we're not good enough.
Yeah, we're not good enough artists, but they are both amazing. So they're going to be doing that, and then
so they're working on that every single day, and it takes so long. Like just this first issue, just to get the first issue kind of done. It's not even all the way done. It's taken like 3 months.
Yeah, because they've had to be doing a lot of design work and stuff like that. And then our plan is hopefully to turn it into a motion comic as well. Sort of like how the trailer is. The trailer sort of, goes through it like it's a comic, but it's moving and stuff.
And then we'd add voices in to where it would be like a,
it'd be like a really bad cartoon with no animation. But that's sort of something that we have always been interested in. Again, like, we love Disney, so we love cartoons, and we would like to eventually get into doing that sort of thing.
Right.
So hopefully this will be a step towards that. And
so hopefully it'll come out in 2 ways. It'll come out as a motion comic that's more like a cartoon if people just cannot stand reading comics. Yeah. But if people like reading comics, then there'll be the comic.
The comic will probably come out first, just because it'll take a while to do the motion comic. And then we've got Nick Gage and Scott Lamps, who did the music for Batman. They're going to be composing original music, for the motion comic. And they did the song that's in the trailer, they did an awesome job. So, yeah. Yeah, I think that's it.
Cool. We're excited about that too. So actually, kind of along those lines, everyone in Team Starkid is kind of, you guys are well out of college and people are starting to go and start their own careers and do different things. What does all of that mean for the future of Starkid, and how do you see that affecting it?
Yeah, it certainly means that some people are doing other things. Darren, he wasn't involved in Batman. He came back to do the Harry Potter senior year, but again, that was a thing to where we couldn't get everyone in the same place for enough time to put on real shows, so we had to do it the way that we did.
Yeah, basically, the Harry Potter senior year was kind of like the last hurrah with everybody. That's why we were so trying to make it as good as possible and make it actually happen, because just the cost of putting on one of these shows, you're never going to have everyone in the same show. We just can't, we don't have the money to make a big show like the Harry Potters again. In college, you could do it because everyone lived in the same area. The theater was free. The costumes were, for the most part, free. Everything was free. But now everything costs money. And it's the most expensive thing is like paying people. You have to pay actors so that they can give you their time, so that they can be in the show. And, you know, even paying everyone the tiny amount that they get paid, it's like, it's still a lot of money. Yeah. So, I'd say that is, how did I start on this? That Harry Potter 3 was the last hurrah. Yeah, everyone's going off in their own
certain
direction.
People are doing big projects, you know. We've got a lot of the actors are out in LA doing great things there. You know, like Joey is pretty much consistently working out there. He's great. Dylan is consistently working. You know, Darren obviously is doing his stuff. I think that Starkid is also, you'll probably see more smaller things from different members. Yeah, I guess the real question is, what do you define as Starkid? Because I've always defined it as the series of shows.
Right.
So in the great scheme of things, I don't see it changing too much. I mean, there's going to be another show. But if you define Starkid more as all the people that have been in the shows, then yeah, I'd say...
And it'll probably change. The casts are going to get smaller, just out of necessity, because we don't have enough money to have big casts anymore. Basically, you know, it's like Batman was a fun show, but it didn't make very much money because we did it for free. And
it cost a ton of money.
And
Harry Potter 3 cost a ton of money, and it was for free.
Yeah. You know, the soundtracks don't make too much money, the albums that get sold. Just because, you know, music these days doesn't make too much money because of file sharing, stuff like that. It's really easy to just get it for free. So with Twisted, it's going to be a smaller cast. Aladdin is... It's not exactly the Disney movie. We've done enough changes to make it clearly not the Disney movie. And it's a public domain story. Anyways, so this one will be...
We can sell tickets
for this one, so hopefully that will
help us make money to do
more stuff. Yeah, I guess there are also, like, recently some people in Starkid did a sketch show at Second City, Airport for Birds. And that was a project that me and Matt weren't involved in because we were sort of, you know, busy working on Twisted, which we wrote with Eric Congale, who wrote the Bully book, and he was a writer on Little White Lie and Me and My Dick. And
we were working on that. We were working on Harry Potter 3. We were working on Quicksand Jack. We were working on a lot of other stuff.
But I know that Brian, who was basically in charge of the Second City thing, he's already got another Second City thing that he's working on that may be in June. So you'll see more smaller things from people.
Another change that I'd want to make I don't know how possible it is, because keeping a show up and keeping it running is so expensive. That's why all our runs are so limited. And
All
so
of our
small.
live
all of our live
runs
shows.
are usually like, the longest one was Starship, which was like 12 performances.
which isn't that many. One thing I'd like to try to do with Twisted is to have it up and running for a longer time, so that more people can see it live.
Yeah. It'll
So-
basically run throughout all of July.
And maybe eventually getting it to where it runs for several months instead of several days, you know?
Yeah, that would be cool.
So that would be a nice change I'd like to see happen. But who knows if it will.
Yeah. I think with Twisted in particular, we're going to try and switch up the casting a little bit, so that you're not seeing the same people in the same sort of roles that you've already seen them in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it gets a little, boring to just say, It's like if everyone can just cast it in their head and just picks the obvious choices,
And
then-
just imagines the show. It's like, what's the point of doing the show then?
Yeah.
yeah. So we just, I guess that's another big change. We want to use different people and give different people opportunities to do different stuff.
There's some of the people that are just so iconic in the roles that they've been in already. You don't want like people to say, "Oh, Harry Potter is Aladdin." You don't want to.
Right.
Yeah.
He's so strongly Harry. It starts to bleed over into things. When you want Twisted to sort of stand on its own 2 feet, you have to give it its own unique cast, so that it's not people thinking, oh, here are the Harry Potter characters acting out Aladdin. It becomes, oh, there's a new thing that I'm watching. So I know that we're going to have some new people in Twisted, I think. We haven't really worked out the cast 100% yet, but there will be some new people, some people that
You've seen before, but are doing different kinds of parts. So I guess that's another change.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty good for this question.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so, I guess that was one of our main questions. We wanted to, back to AVPSY, what was some of your favorite parts of the show?
Well, I really like Gilderoy's big monologues. The one with the mouse monologue, where he talks about being the mouse prince, is a monologue that we made up for the first show, for the first Harry Potter show. Because we said, in the original version of the first Harry Potter show, there were multiple Defense Against the Dark Arts teachers that cycled
That
through.
were all evil.
They were all evil, they all turned out to be Death Eaters, and they cycled through. Like, Quirrell was there, then Gilderoy was there, then Umbridge was there. And we just, in one part, we were just talking about it, and we were like, Gilderoy is... I don't know how we got on the subject, but we said it would be funny if he talked about wanting to be the size of a mouse.
Just thought it was a funny idea, because that's a weird thing to want.
And we just made up the monologue back then, and we tried to get it in the first show, but it didn't fit, so we cut it out. Then we tried to put Gilderoy in the second show as well, and he didn't fit, so we cut him out. And then he finally got into the third show. So I'm really glad that monologue got in there, and I think AJ does a great job doing it.
Yeah. I guess, favorite parts, I like the end. I like AJ as Gilderoy. I like Hagrid.
Wait, why was Hagrid Scottish?
Hagrid being Scottish?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just
Just
I don't know. There's not too much logic behind it.
I just thought it was funny.
Yeah,
It was funny, but I was confused.
Yeah. It's just whenever we did his voice, for some reason we didn't remember the voice that he actually has, so we're like, let's just make him Scottish guy, just Mike Myers, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess he's Scottish for the same reason that they're all American.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only a couple of characters have accents in our Harry Potter version.
Yeah, like
I like that though. I like that it's just some random ones. And just...
Just a couple random ones. Just whichever actors felt like doing an accent.
Yeah, but then Ivana was in it. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
She was very nice to be in it.
She's a real sweetheart.
We like her.
Yeah, she's friends with all the people out in LA, so.
Mm-hmm.
And we met her at LeakyCon the previous year, and we were like, "You're really nice." And then as we were doing the third show, we were like, "Wouldn't it be funny if it was the real Luna Lovegood?"
Yeah.
And then we contacted her, and she's like, "Yeah, sure, that sounds great." And so I think that was pretty funny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it was cool to see.
Yeah, it's funny to like make her like really crazy and have her smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, that was weird, but
Yeah, it's weird, but isn't it funny to see?
it was funny. I was
Luna
like,
Lovegood doing
what?
that?
Yeah, I told her to do that.
yeah, told her to.
I said, she's in the bathroom. She's here for a smoke. Get a cigarette out, Luna.
Yeah. There used to be an explanation as to why her hands were covered in blood, and maybe it's in the script, but we cut it out of the final version. Because I think it's funnier without an explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like whenever Darren sings.
Darren's really good in the show.
I like it when Darren says, "Who made that pin?"
Oh yeah, that's our favorite line. Because the line in the script is, "Who made these buttons?" But the way Darren chose to say it was, "Who made that pin?"
Yeah, we thought that was funny.
That was our funny. Criss.
Oh, yeah.
Alan.
Oh, he
Yeah.
was so great.
In all his
Wow.
roles, especially Moaning Myrtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the funniest thing.
Is he gonna
What?
be in more stuff? Because he's pretty awesome.
Criss actually,
Yes, he's going to be in more
he's
stuff.
going to be in more
so-
stuff, but not
Well, yeah.
in the next Starkid thing.
Oh, okay.
We wanted Criss to be involved in Twisted, but Criss actually just booked a one-man show in Las Vegas
Oh,
called
cool.
Defending the
exciting.
Caveman.
So he's going to be doing that for the next year.
He's going to be in that for a year. So it's just going to be Criss defending the caveman in Harrah's, the hotel in Las Vegas for a year.
And he
So-
left this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, he left just this morning to go. I think he's gonna start doing it in maybe like a month. So probably someone will let people know about that because
I think we can say this, that in Twisted we wanted Criss to be in it, and we specifically wrote the genie for Criss.
yeah, we wrote Genie for Criss
Mhm.
because Criss is the best at impersonations.
But
But
now we can't use him, so we'll have to tweak the genie.
we're gonna
Now,
change the Genie now because,
We have to rewrite it. He's
Yeah.
specifically for Criss, so...
but that's okay.
Yeah.
And other favorite parts. I really like all of Tyler Brunsman's roles.
Yeah.
Knocks it out of the park for everything. He's great as McGonagall. And when he comes in as Cedric, it is the funniest thing.
Yeah.
It's still funny when he does it.
Yeah.
And
Tyler's funny.
Tyler's funny.
Tyler's cool. I also like the part when you have to go all the way home when Brittany sings.
Yeah, when Brittany sings and when you have to go all the way home, when she goes, "I'll always love you."
Yeah, that's
Brittany is awesome. I think, and that was just her ad-libbing that singing.
Mhm.
You know, originally we were just like, Clark's just gonna sing a song none of the characters in the show are gonna sing, but then Brittany started to sing, and we were like, wow, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. I also think Joey Richter does a real... I think this is probably his best performance in any of the shows that he's done. When he does the I'm Just a Sidekick song, he really knocks it out of the park. And when he goes to get Harry from Godric's Hollow, he just does a great performance. It really gets you and makes you cry. You know, it's like just the end of the show is just designed to make you cry.
The whole show's just there so the end can happen.
Yeah, because right after we made the Harry Potter sequel, because when we made the sequel, we said, that's the last one, that's it. We're never going to do another one, because you can't continue the story after Voldemort is dead. Because we did the end of the 7th book in the first play. That's why when we did the sequel, we were like, let's have him go back in time to the first year, so that we don't do an ending after the ending from the books. But then, as we were talking about, in a third show, you can do things that you can't do in a second one. Like, you can revisit stuff from the first one. Like in the Indiana Jones trilogy, the Nazis are the bad guys in the first one, and they're not in the second one, and they come back in the third one. So we were like, Voldemort can come back in the third one. But we made up the part where Harry was in Godric's Hollow, and Ron comes back to give him his tie.
And they do the Going Back to Hogwarts reprise. We made that up first, then we said, let's think of a show around this.
Yeah. So we knew that the Going Back to Hogwarts reprise was the part that made the entire thing worthwhile. And we were like, it's going to be a full reprise. The entire song is going to happen again.
Yeah, so the structure of the show was make it as depressing as possible, and then do the reprise. Yeah, and that was the idea.
Yeah.
What other questions?
Were you guys like sad to see it end?
Yeah. I am sad. For us, there's a lot of personal stuff tied into it. So we are sad to see it end in some aspects. We're relieved to see it end in other aspects.
It's a lot of work. I mean, at the moment, my answer is no, I'm not sad, just because it's nice to have it done, because it's a weight off our shoulders. Maybe in a year, I'll go, oh, and feel sad about it. But
also, you know, we did the show back in August, so we have gotten used. Like, for us, that was really the end of it. Well, really, for us, we finished writing the script, and then we had Eric Congale over, and we read it to him, and we all cried as we were reading the script, and we were like, okay, done. But then we went, oh no, now we have to do the show.
It's just there's so much hard stuff about the shows that you're always a little bit relieved when they're done. So I think it's nice that they're done. I guess we're a little bit sad, right?
Yeah.
I'm more, you know, happy that the third play actually happened, or something happened, because that's nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're kind of sad, but kind of glad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a bit different for us than it is for people watching the show, because I think people watching the show can more closely associate the shows with Harry Potter. Like, people watching it can go, oh, this is a Harry Potter thing. But us, we know that it's not a real Harry Potter thing. You know, Harry Potter was over when the 7th book came out. So for us, we were like, Harry Potter really ended while we were making Little White Lie. We were working nonstop, and then we took a break to read the 7th book, and we all cried, and we were like, that was a great end, the end. And then we were like, our plays are always sort of like an afterthought. So
what I think is nice is, when people say it's finally over, and I'm cool with that, and that is what the third show to me was supposed to do, make everyone okay with going, all right, done with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what I really wanted, because the thing about the Harry Potter franchise is it's just those 7 books, and that's all you get. So you finish book 7, and you're so depressed, and there's nothing to fill this void, and you go, and you're so desperate for something else. And I think that's maybe why the first musical worked out well, because people were so desperate to see it continue. Or something else, Harry Potter. Like with Star Wars, if you watch the first 3 Star Wars and you go, I want some more Star Wars, there's a million comics, video games, 3 other crappy movies, 4 other crappy movies, and there are going to be some more crappy movies, and more crappy comics,
No, maybe
books,
they'll be
and
good,
novels.
though.
So
Yeah,
you can just slowly, you can get tired, you can just watch enough Star Wars and go, this sucks now, you know?
Yeah.
And same thing with, like, let's say, what else is like that? Batman, for example. There's so much Batman crap out there that you can just...
Like, Batman's still going.
It's still
Yeah.
going.
I think what's nice about Harry Potter compared to a lot of other franchises is that it's so definitive. There's so clearly, because it's a book series, so it's and all the books are pretty good. So it's great to say it was all good, and it's one cohesive thing that's now over.
So basically what I'm saying is that Harry Potter doesn't give you the option to just casually get sick of it. You know, it's like, you can't get sick of it because it's just those 7 books. So I was hoping that the third play would come out and just have everyone go, yes, I can accept that the books are done.
Yeah.
And say, like, let's not have Harry, like, peter out until eventually people are sick of him. You know, like, let's put a button on our thing at least, and hopefully give people a sense of closure.
Yeah, because the whole process of us making the plays, the whole process of me doing the first play was going, I just have to do this to get everything I have to say about Harry Potter out and be okay with the franchise being done.
Yeah.
So that's why I did the first play, and then that's, I guess, why the reasons we did the other 2.
Yeah.
And so it's nice when people say, good, enough Harry Potter, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad no one's saying, make a 4th one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
That's-
honestly, the 3 things that you guys did was enough. And I thought even, like, the first one I thought was, okay, this is good. It's, like, enough. But, like, I think the storyline is what made it, like, so interesting to see the sequel and the senior year. Because it, like, mashes everything together. So it's like a unique spin on it.
Yeah, I think what's fun about the musicals is to where we can kind of cheat with the musicals, whereas the movies have to accurately portray the story of the books.
Mm-hmm.
In the musicals, we had the freedom to make it a show about Harry Potter in general. It didn't have to follow the story of what actually happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the third play is really, really transparently about the Harry Potter franchise in general.
Yeah.
You know, we've even got, like, Gilderoy talking about merchandising.
He takes the book out.
And he takes out the book.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like, these plays are about the nostalgia for Harry Potter. That's why the first play isn't him going to Hogwarts, it's him going back to Hogwarts.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is nostalgia. So I think that was a fun thing to be able to do. To be able to make something that was sort of the story of Harry Potter, but also mainly just about, don't we all like Harry Potter? So I think that is fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you guys wanted to say about AVPSY or Twisted or anything?
I don't know. We've talked for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have anything else to say.
I just am really thankful for everyone watching it.